This is not a new concept. You've probably heard this before, but we're gonna stress the importance of date nights in your marriage.
And understand this, you guys, like I know a lot of people talk about date nights and how they're great for your marriage. And yes, like date nights are a benefit. I do wanna express that date nights are not this is not a thing that will save your marriage. This is an added thing that you and your spouse can be intentional about. It's about seeking that time to be together, to have meaningful conversation, get to know each other more.
Great marriages are a culmination of knowing where to go back to.
Yeah.
They get off track, but they know where to go back.
Yeah.
They know how to get their marriage back on a good track. So if you've been off of this train for a while, you know, it's a good time just to step up and go, hey, let's go for a date night. Or hey, let me do something special for my wife or for my husband. So don't be too hard on yourselves. You're listening to this, that's a good first step.
Your blended family has a 100% chance of success when you do it God's way. We're Blended Kingdom Families, and we want to provide biblical resources to heal and restore families with a message of hope for the next generation.
Hey guys, welcome back to the BKF podcast. We are excited to be with you tonight.
Yes.
Today.
Not tonight, today.
Well, they may be night wherever they're at.
This is true. This is true. Day, night.
Well, we're going to be talking about date nights.
Ooh,
Look at
I like how that played into that. Look at you.
I love it.
Look at you.
Whether you've been married for a week, a year, 10 years, 20 years, you have to date your spouse.
Yes.
And regular date nights are something that you have not, this is not a new concept. You've probably heard this before, but we're going to stress the importance of date nights in your marriage.
Well, instead of just date nights, I think it's just continuing to date your spouse.
Yeah.
So, you know, and understand this, you guys, like I know a lot of people talk about date nights, like, and how they're great for your marriage. And yes, like date nights are a benefit. I do want to express that date nights are not this is not a thing that will save your marriage. This is an added thing that you and your spouse can be intentional about. It's about seeking that time to be together, to have meaningful conversation, get to know each other more, check in with one another. You know, date nights are great because it also helps us keep in line the priorities and what is the priorities for our marriage, which is God first, our marriage and spouse are second, and then, you know, family, kids third. And so I think I just wanted to highlight that because I think, you know, you see a lot on social media, oh, the date night's this and the date night that. And yes, date nights are awesome and great.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that. But you know, understand that there's so much more to it than just taking your spouse out to dinner one night a week.
I will say this, if you want to have great date nights, you got to do all this other stuff, great communication, good conflict resolution. I mean, you're going on a specific time with your spouse, so make it an amazing experience. Get all the fruit of all the things that you're pouring into your marriage into that night.
Well, and I think it can become very easy to just start checking the box of, oh, we have date night tonight, let's go, and it kind of becomes the same thing every week. Where okay, we go to dinner, we have a couple of conversations, you know, blah blah, blah, and then we go home. Like we want it to be an enjoyable time and a time where we're truly seeking out one another and having meaningful conversation. And granted, it's not going to be that every time. Like it doesn't have to be this wow experience every time. But we also don't want it to become one of those just things where we're checking it off the box, saying that we're doing it.
Yeah. Imagine if you were doing like, I see all these videos of these people come in and they give like their TikTok review of their first date. You know, they're like, oh, she went on a first date and this is what happened. Imagine if you're, as a couple, we're doing like an end of date kind of like recap. What would your spouse say? So let's make them good date nights.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So why is it important? The National Marriage Project of the University of Virginia said couples who regularly have date nights are more satisfied in their marriage and have better communication. And the Marriage Foundation found that couples who have regular date nights report a 60% higher level of relationship satisfaction.
That's big.
That's good. I love it. So But we know obstacles come in the way.
Sure.
Because kids, they are, well, not just kids. Kids, it's work. Well, it's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things. And do we have the assistance and help? Do we have babysitters? Do we have family that can help? Friends that can watch? I mean, that, depending on demographics and where we live, do we have anyone that we can trust that can help watch our kiddos?
Yeah. So we want to make sure that we don't put obstacles in our way. We find creative ways to figure out ways around those problems so we can still have those date nights.
Financial obstacles is another thing.
Yeah.
I know we have people that, everyone's in a different financial season. And so you may be in a season where you're like, hey, we can't go out to dinner once a week or do those things. And so, but we can find meaningful things to do, whether that's at home or we go to the park or,
so many things.
So many different things.
Absolutely. One of the biggest obstacles is people just say, hey, I'm too busy. So I want to make sure that we look at this and go, hey, we've got a budget time. We have to set aside time to say, hey, regardless of busy schedules, we want to make sure that we are at least connecting and scheduling good time together. So schedule a reoccurring date night, whether that's every Thursday, every Friday, every Monday, just something that people can look forward to and that makes it special.
Well, and I think another benefit of having regular date nights, you're setting aside this time to relax, and be with one another, and it can help reduce the everyday stresses of life. And it becomes that thing that you're excited about during the week. And what we want to stress too, and we talk about this in the book, is don't let your date night be about your business meetings or the kids or finances and things like that. Let those meetings, that we talk about having once a week, a business meeting and a marriage meeting, let those be outside of this. This can be a time where you can just really enjoy your spouse and again, set aside time for those meaningful conversations. Couples who connect emotionally often see an increase in their physical affection. So as you and your spouse are taking the intentional time to connect emotionally and relationally, watch how that can affect your physical intimacy. Because I know, as a female, I know for us, when there's great conversation and we are connecting emotionally, there's a physical and a oneness that it draws us closer to one another, and we feel more physically bond to one another.
Yeah, and I will say I heard something a while back, and I thought, well, that was a great idea too. I see a lot of couples who have sex before their date night, and then it makes their date night even better. Because they're again, they're more connected.
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait till the end of the night when maybe you're tired and you want to go to sleep. But date nights and intimacy can go hand in hand. Just, budget a little time before you go to dinner.
It's like having dessert before you get your meal.
Yeah. But I think you will find that a lot of intimacy sometimes becomes very sporadic. And then you're wondering why we're not connecting on date nights, or why there's no, I don't know, like this the euphoric nature of your date nights. And so, just schedule a little time, close the door beforehand, and then go to dinner.
Well, and I will say the thing about when you continue to date your spouse, you're continuing to get to know them. This also, I think, helps with less conflict in your marriage, because you are regularly connecting, you're regularly emotionally processing, and anything else. And with that, there tends to be less room for conflict and arguments, or room for there to be disagreements or misunderstandings. Yeah.
Well, if you're wondering where to get ideas and how do we do this, like how do I start bringing this up? We've talked about the importance. We've talked about why and how. Let me give you a couple of practical tips with maybe some creativity and maybe how you guys can do this. One option is you and your spouse can, like on little bitty pieces of paper, you can write down different date ideas. And maybe they cost money, maybe they're free, maybe it's a walk, maybe it's, hey, we're going to go to the park, we're going to go for a bike ride, or we're going to go sing karaoke. I know she loves some karaoke.
Love me some karaoke.
So you take all that, throw it all into a bowl every week or every Sunday, pick one out. That's what you do.
Yeah.
That's one option. You can do that. Another thing is you can take turns planning. So sometimes, every other week that each one of them plans a date. And again, your budget, your time.
Yeah.
It's about that intentionality around that. The other thing, and I don't think we highlight this enough, but we talk about this in a lot of other episodes, is date nights can be you and your spouse. They can also be you and another couple. You can go out. I know one of the things that we love to do is spend time with our couple friends.
Yeah.
And go out and spend time as couples. So we plan, group nights where we all go out into dinner and enjoy time together.
No, it's so good. I saw a reel the other day on social media, and it was this couple, and the wife talked about how they connect. They wake up 2 hours before they wake their kids up, which is early. So, I mean, if your kids have to be at school by 7:30, you're waking up at 5:30. But I thought this was really interesting. She said that they purposely wake up, and she was just kind of talking about, how they each get ready, but they take about an hour to just connect, whether it's in their living room or on their back porch. They drink their coffee and they have meaningful conversation. And she was talking about how it was just, it's a great start to both of their days, and they're connected. And it makes me think about, like, imagine if you started, one morning out of the week like that. And then what does that look like towards the end of the day? Does that mean that there's more, physical intimacy with your spouse, and how that can set you and your marriage up for success that day? And just get to spend that extra time with your spouse. And so, to your point, Scott, it doesn't have to be expensive. It may cost you some time, it may cost you some sleep, but financially, there are some things that you can do that are free. But it's about that making that time to connect with your spouse, and being intentional in that.
Yeah. Well, marriage is supposed to be enjoyed. I think God created it for enjoyment. And part of that is continually nurturing it and watering it and making sure that it's healthy. And don't be so hard on yourselves if you've gotten off the track.
Yeah.
I want to stress this, because I know somebody may hear this and go, "Man, I'm not really good at this," or schedules are crazy, or whatever. Don't be so hard on yourself. I will say, in all of marriage counseling, the one fact that I've known, well, there's a couple of facts that I've known true. One, great marriages follow Jesus. The second thing is great marriages are a culmination of knowing where to go back to.
Yeah.
They get off track, but they know where to go back.
Yeah.
They know how to get their marriage back on a good track. So if you've been off of this train for a while, it's a good time just to step up and go, "Hey, let's go for a date night," or, "Hey, let me do something special for my wife or for my husband." So don't be too hard on yourselves. You're listening to this, that's a good first step. And then take that next step, and understanding prioritizing those date nights can be a huge deal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks so much for joining in with us today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's great giving you some ideas about how to date your spouse or have those date nights and have a lot more fun.
Yes.
So, guys, hope you have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
Be blessed in all that you do.
Hey friends, so glad you were here with us today, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can find more resources from Blended Kingdom Families at blendedkingdomfamilies.com. Join us again next time as we talk about more blended family topics. Be blessed in all that you do, and remember, nothing will be impossible with God.